Hello, everyone. If you all haven't played Spore or have not watched my previous video found in the description, I recommend giving it a watch to understand the general content that Spore has. Without further ado, here are my top 6 things I would add in a hypothetical Spore 2. Now, Spore is a game with many cool features, but to be honest, more could have been done on aspects like linking certain stages with a smoother transition between them, or adding more engaging activities in each stage to maximize the fun value. Let's now get into the top 6 list. Preface. I see Spore as a kid-friendly game, so I personally believe that new features shouldn't be too complicated. Also, this list is like one of those 5-question tests with many parts to each question, so expect some detail. Aquatic Stage was a cut stage in Spore, and for a Spore 2, an additional stage seems fitting. Now, what makes the aquatic stage unique? The answer is that it can serve as a transition between the bacteria in cell stage to the land creatures in creature stage. Firstly, advancement in cell stage involves eating food, and for creature stage, it's interacting with creatures. Therefore, the aquatic stage should be a little bit of both. The 3 routes for this stage are based on not what you eat, but how you eat. These routes are Filter, Detrivore, and Hunter. So filters eat by swimming through clouds of phytoplankton and zooplankton. Detritivores eat dead stuff that lay in the sediment on the ocean floor. And finally, hunters eat consecutively bigger fish throughout the advancement of the aquatic stage. Now, every stage grants certain consequence abilities to future stages, so cell stage should also give different abilities that affect aquatic stage. These abilities unlocked are all related to a unique skill I created, which allows you to call a school of fish. So, for example, these abilities would be summon a mass of fish to paralyze, poison, or confuse your target. Imagine getting aquatic parts that are these different themes. Abyssal, so like smoky eyes and lantern proboscises. Plankton, which is tentacles and feelers. Crustacean, which is shells and plates. Prehistoric, which are jaws and flippers. And standard fish parts like fins and gills. The last topic to bring up for aquatic stage are the natural dangers one would encounter. So that would be epic fish that would exist, including the infamous sea monster from future stages, maybe alien whales or alien krakens as well as epics. And the other danger would be the environmental hazards like thermal vents, brine pools, and sinking icebergs that would endanger your creature while they're swimming around in the ocean. There are more cut stages, be it a concept or a tested stage to later be removed or merged. These cut ideas are my inspiration for micro stages. The concept is that for any playthrough after your first, a handful of mini games are unlocked and can be played before certain stages to grant upgraded parts and tools for the upcoming stage. To sum it up, a micro stage is a mini game. I created 3 micro stages. The first micro stage is called Primordial Soup and occurs before the cell stage. It is a cooking minigame where you are given instructions on making the soup. The better the soup, the more rewards. So you can create 3 types of soups. An okay soup gets you star eyes, which is a cosmetic upgrade. An amazing soup equals barbed spikes, which is just a better spike. And a perfect soup unlocks a microblaster, which is just a projectile weapon. An example of how rewards are unlocked goes as this. If perfect soup is made, you would unlock the blaster and all the lower tiered rewards. The second micro stage is called Sapient Awakening and occurs before the travel stage. The Sapient Awakening is like a 2D alien invasion minigame where instead of aliens, they are thought bubbles, and whenever you catch them, they give you a higher score. The low score equals pet armor for your pets in travel stage. A medium score gets you a xylophone for your friendly playthrough, and a high score achieves you a wizard staff, which can be used for an aggressive playthrough. The third and last microstage is called Fermi Paradox and occurs before the space stage. The minigame for this microstage is like Flappy Bird, and the walls act as the metaphorical penultimate group of obstacles a species would face to become a spacefaring empire. That's a little bit tough, but basically just Flappy Bird. This microstage goes until you pass 50 obstacles, and a score of 10 unlocks the Helix laser, which lets all laser weapons in space stage do double damage. A score of 30 equals a cryptovirus, which it's just a tool that devalues planets and makes them easier to purchase. They're cheaper. A max score of 50 gives Grok's repellent, which is an expensive biostabilizer like tool that decreases the chance of Grox attacking. The most significant change to the creature stage, and in fact all stages, would be the addition of environments to these planets. The possible environments added in Spore would be the simple ones like tundras, deserts, swamps, forests, and grasslands. For your creature to survive, they would require certain creature parts to delve into these different biomes. So, you would have thick coats of fur or shorter limbs that would help gain access to tundras, cold blooded upgrades or larger limbs to assist in desert exploration, and amphibious parts to travel through swamps. Oceans could also be traversable with advanced aquatic stage parts. Players would want to cross oceans to find all of the environments generated on their home planet. There can also be icebergs that allow non-amphibious players to cross oceans. The weather events would expand as well. The events in mind are blizzards and cold biomes, and sandstorms and hot biomes that both deal chip damage to unadapted animals. In tribal stage, clothes can affect what environments your tribe can access. Large hats to provide shade in hot biomes, and thick coats to warm up in cold biomes. The idea here is that you can now fully compensate for any climate weakness your creature has now that they are in the tribal stage and have the intelligence to make said clothes. Perhaps in the civilization stage, the diverse environments could make certain forms of travel difficult. So, land vehicles could struggle in swampy areas, boats could struggle in icy cold oceans with tons of ice sheets, and aircraft could get weaker during weather events. Finally, the space stage implementation of environments would have planets that are 100% one biome. This would be useful in finding cool places to colonize and maybe find new spices. Imagine a desert planet having a global sandstorm. That would be pretty awesome. For those who don't know, I think Travel Stage was the largest missed opportunity in Spore. Therefore, Spore 2 should have a complete overhaul of this stage. And the main idea is that this stage will be more fulfilling and fully bridges into the civilization stage. The first addition would be adding walls to your tribe. After your first few tribe encounters, the tribe can convert to a village, which allows you to add walls and other things. So to focus on walls, this is just an extra defense measure that you get with your upgraded village now instead of a tribe. And the walls would require a tool for sieging, like a ramming device. And on the other side, peaceful players can do a Jericho-style concert around the wall to get access into the village. After getting past the village walls, the player can now befriend or destroy the village, whichever way they want to progress. The next idea is allowing pets to become rideable steeds. This allows for speedy travel to do the tribal activities. Pet-drawn carriages are the fastest mode of travel and are unlocked when you become a village, and they cost resources to build. Since the stage will be longer, the new villages that spawn will spawn further away, and this transportation feature will handle this development. Farms and ranches are another village unlock. These structures allow your village to passively generate food by dedicating villagers to tend them. Upgrading the farms or ranches gives more food, but you need more villagers to tend them. A new resource to collect in this stage is called material and is used alongside food to build huts, but also to build carriages, tools, farms, ranches, and walls. To clarify, food is only for healing tribesmen, building huts, and making babies, so food is now less important than this new item called material. Material is collected through making mud, harvesting trees, and collecting rocks. Axes are needed for harvesting trees, and a new pickaxe tool is for collecting rocks. Other tools include more instruments and weapons like drums or swords. For my last change, I want Tribal Stage to have a new name. I would suggest the Feudal Stage or the Village Stage. I know there are calls from fans to just make a new Medieval Stage after Tribal Stage, but I wanted to make an honest attempt to keep it all in Tribal Stage. The Civilization Stage is very good. In fact, I had little I wanted to change until I came up with this new resource, energy. The foundation of energy is that it's a static resource each city independently owns that goes down with every building in the city and vehicle produced from that same city. Every city will start with a simple energy facility that needs to be upgraded to maximize your city's potential. The facility progression starts as a coal-based energy producer, then goes to oil, wind, solar, then finally it becomes a nuclear reactor. Each upgrade increases the city's base energy reserve, and eventually the better facilities give additional benefits like increased civilian happiness or faster vehicles from that city. The main danger is that an opponent can destroy your energy facility to prevent you from rebuilding your buildings or vehicles the city made. Repairing an energy facility takes some money and time, so the strategy is to make turrets stationed near your energy plants for protection. I love Space Stage so much, and since it is the last stage, there really is a consideration to have content that extends the duration of a playthrough. What Space Stage does have is a vast galaxy to explore, endless empire expansion, countless empires to meet, and infinite missions, normal and galactic adventures, tons of badges to collect, and the ethical purge of the Groks. All of these activities already guarantee that Space Stage will be the longest played stage that any player would have. But the goal of this edition is to make a Space Stage that is more exciting than it already is. The first inclusion that I have to improve this stage is to add factions into Space Stage. The only constant faction in the current Spore is the Groks, and they fulfill the role of the generic bad guys. Factions can be like the Groks, where a specific unbuildable alien is designated to each group. Then each faction is then given its own purpose/goal that the player can align with. Here are some examples of potential Spore 2 factions. 1. A Galactic Federation faction that seeks to protect all empires from more dangerous empires like the Groks. 2. A robot faction that wants to take over all technology. 3. A hive mind faction that wants to assimilate all life. 4. A Bioborg faction that wants to replace technology with an organic alternative. And 5. A cultist faction that wants to make contact with an outer god. Each faction can have their own questline to complete and give you different endings. A new change would be an affinity system that is influenced by more specific actions per faction that progress questlines. As an example, the robot faction story path is 1. Give 20 blue spice as the price of initiation. 2. Search for some radio artifacts. 3. Beam down to a planet to fight a Bioborg ambush. 4. Find the Grok's Central Intelligence planet and claim it. 5. Fight the Bioborg General. And 6. Take control of all technology in the galaxy. Also, many faction quests would be galactic adventure missions. The robot faction story, for example, would make you enemies with the Bioborgs, which locks you from playing the Bioborg questline and getting their unique tools for that playthrough. Speaking of tools, all factions will have a faction-specific gadget that you can get upgrades for by advancing their questline. My tool idea for the robot faction would be a 3-tiered device that can temporarily disable turrets on cities. The device has a cooldown, and each upgrade disables more turrets and increases effect duration. Now, the next addition would be random events that can be encountered. Here's a list of events I've come up with. Roaming merchants that trade spice for gear, wealth ships that can be raided, space pilgrims on a spiritual journey, and finally ghost ships. The goal is to have a mix of events that are interacted with on a game or story aspect. As a side note, one of my ideas for roaming merchants are aliens donning tusks and Inuit-style clothes riding a massive space whale. The last change on Space Stage is a new location, the Dark Sector. The Dark Sector is an area around the outside of the galaxy that is far more dangerous than the center of the galaxy with all the Groks. It is also unreachable until reaching the center of the galaxy or reaching a certain captain rank, but once achieving this milestone, the player gains access to the FTL drive. An FTL drive will let you travel to the Dark Sector. This location has a new bad guy faction called The Darkness. Your choice in how to deal with this faction leads to different quest lines where you let the darkness spread or you wipe out the darkness. My concept is that you get a new line of sunlight weapons that are extra effective against the darkness, and you get to fight them to extinction. On the opposite path, you get shadow weapons that are extra effective against regular aliens that assist in taking over the galaxy. To sum up the video, I would enjoy these changes in Spore 2. Adding the aquatic stage, including microstages, placing diverse environments on planets, overhauling the travel stage to better bridge the gap to the next stage, a new resource and civilization stage, and a bunch of extra content for space stage. If y'all enjoyed the video, click some buttons below. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.